Hi guys, my name's Alex Duda and I'm just doing the video journals 1, 2 and 3 for module 1. So the first question says, describe how I feel when I'm asked to write something and what is the relationship between reading, writing and my future goals. Cool. So I'm not as nervous as I thought I would be when I'm asked to write something, as in FlexiTrack we're given all the information before we're asked to write something down, which makes it fairly easy enough. And I've kept most of my English skills from high school. I believe I have the knowledge enough to make knowledge to create a good enough sentence. Ironically, create a good enough sentence for lecturers to read and understand. However, my English skills are getting better, I feel, because I'm imitating a lot of the language used in the academic practice lectures and in the quoting and paraphrasing. I'm using a lot of those skills to improve on all of that, which is great. I also feel the punctuation activity helps me out quite a lot. I'm very grateful for this, and I'm looking forward to more activities in the following lectures to again help improve little things like that refresh my memory on punctuation and grammar, which is essential essentially in making good essays and having a strong position on things, because you need to come across as intellectual, of course, to have a good argument in essays and all sorts of stuff like that. I do expect it to get a lot harder in the future when I'm asked to present my own research, and it'll be a lot more stimulating again, because I'll be presenting an argument against other students perhaps, which will be I believe a lot of fun, but also a lot more nerve-wracking, and I'll be doing a lot more research, so it'll be quite hard. At least, however, I'll have the skills required to do so, which is great. I'm enjoying one so far, and I believe that it'll be quite again stimulating in the future for the next few modules. I'm expecting to get harder. So how it relates to my reading and writing, how it relates to my profession, I do need to read a lot more, especially if I want to exceed in my profession of medicine. Oh, sorry, I just knocked the bottle over. I do need to get better at my reading, because I don't do a lot of reading, and there's always new information coming out about different different ways to help with movement, just general basic gym movements and sporting. So my profession as a PT, reading would help me a lot more if I actually did it, because I don't do a lot of it. However, I am lucky in my position, because a lot of stuff is on YouTube. I do have that option, which is lucky for me in my chosen profession. Writing is also very important, because when I'm screening clients, when I'm in the future I'll be in clinics screening clients, I'll be needing to write shorthand using medical abbreviations, and I'll need to be able to read what I'm saying. So I do need to improve my handwriting. I really need to take notes and use a note-making system. Can't just keep blaming it on all doctors, write with messy handwriting, because it doesn't matter. I need to be able to read it, essentially, guys. So that will all help me. So the video post number 2. What is my position, my discipline? How will my worldviews shape my position in academic arguments? And where are my biases? So, a worldview of mine is everyone deserves confidence and ability to exercise. I believe everyone should exercise, and they should feel confident enough to execute whatever regimes they choose or sport they choose to do. Because essentially what exercise does is improves energy levels, improves mental clarity, and improves confidence, which directly improves the ability to love one another and ability to focus, which is all very important stuff. I'll argue this in any workplace and push for group activity. Group activity is something I strongly believe in, motivates a lot of people, and keeps me going. I've worked in gyms for a lot of my life, and now I'm working in a group fitness studio, and 9 times out of 10 people will stay for a month or 2 months, whereas in gyms they won't. So that is essentially one of my biases, is to keep people motivated. Group fitness is the way to go, whether it be a sport or a recreation, go with a friend. But I'm not particularly biased to one sport or another. I don't believe bodybuilding is better than swimming, is better than diving, is better than crochet. It doesn't matter. Whatever you choose to do is great, as long as you have the confidence and ability to do that. Then you should excel at whatever you do. Now, what I am biased for, though, is I'm biased on posture and mobility. People need to focus on their specific chosen recreational or sport form of living. They need to focus on their ability to execute it all safely with correct mobility, and understand what their own sport needs. Otherwise, they simply will not stay motivated. They simply won't have a full understanding on what it is they're potentially doing. It's like any musician needs to know their instrument. Every athlete needs to know their body and what is required of their body. So I will always be pushing for things like TheraBands, TheraCanes, massage bowls, and resistance bands in gyms, in any sporting complexes, because these are the things that help us manipulate the joints to create optimum function, safe optimum function as well. Which is what I was biased to that. For an example, divers don't need to have they don't need to have a very stiff body like gymnasts. They need to have a stiff torso to do their quick snaps in tumbling, or their flips. They need to be quick at it. Requires a stiff torso, whereas diving, to rotate smoothly through the movements, they need to actually have a mobile section. So that's a good example of where the different professions, different recreations, require different understandings of human movement, which is all interesting as well. It keeps it all interesting. Now, I also believe the question can also refer to social sciences, and I believe it's on negotiating. Men and women are equal, yes. That's an example that I want to use, is that arguing with men or women will never shape my point of view. I just simply believe people won't listen to you, and they won't respect you, and they won't argue with you unless you've heard and acknowledged what they have said and how that relates to their position. If you can't make your opposition feel like you've understood their position, then you simply don't have a good enough argument. It is a strong belief of mine. You can't negotiate with people unless they, again, think you're mildly interested in what they have said, which is ironic, because I'm always right, everyone's always wrong. It's a constant battle I'm fighting myself, with my girlfriend, with my friends, that I believe the only way to really get better at my ability to negotiate and have a good argument is essentially to be... I feel like I need to work on repeating what the other person has said to me, so that they know that I've understood what they said. I just have a different opinion. That's as simple as that. I think that's important with anybody. So it also asked me in post number 2 to basically draw a metaphor for my learner identity. So basically, rather than doing that, because I suck at drawing, is give you this metaphor as a sponge. I believe I'm very much like a sponge. I suck up a lot of the information, but when essentially I'm required to remember it, I don't always flick back into a grid, which is what I want to be more like, a grid, organized. I want my brain to be somewhere where I can access different parts of my information and use them just like that. I need to organize how I learn things, and I believe the only way I do that is by relating how facts relate to other facts, how they intertwine, and how everything essentially is why it is, if you like. And that, I believe, is working with Module 1. Everything is coming together with why we need to quote and paraphrase and reference, and how that is good academic practice, for example, which is great, very good. Have I made any changes to my degree or pathway goals? Definitely not yet. It's far too early. For me, nothing's jumped out at me and motivated me or inspired me more than I have. I've been doing PT since I came out of high school, and I just enjoy it much enough so that I want to help others in potentially getting government rebates for PT. That would be a great movement if I could do that. Just because everyone deserves it. I see a lot of people, a lot of friends and family that are overweight, and they just don't, simply because they don't know what they can do. They don't know how to work around their injuries. They're not confident enough. They don't know where they can get free stuff. They blame money. So my pathways and goals are set like concrete. Okay, so video post 3 of 3. Outline my main goals for this module and why did I choose these particular goals. So the last part here, guys, is what I want to say is that I just simply wanted to complete this module in 2 weeks to give me time for the assumed harder modules. I don't want to slack behind either, because in case they are super duper hard. And I'm also pretty keen to just get the information in and get it stored on my laptop. That's a huge goal of mine, is to keep everything organized on my laptop. I'm learning that I'll need different files for activities, different files for lectures, and there's actually a difference between a PowerPoint presentation and a lecture, which is great information that I'm learning, and I'll have to reorganize it all and keep the right information. It's a huge goal of mine for Module 1. Again, just keep it all organized, keep all the information there for later on when I need it in the future, when I forget things. I also just want to remember as much as I can so it stays in there and I don't necessarily need to always refer back to it. What's worked for me is repetition. As I go through the day, I'll remember what I've learnt via the FlexiTrack, and I make jokes about it with friends, whether I'm at the gym or whether I'm just doing what I do, work with my girlfriend. I'll try and remember things so that I can, so that it stays up there and not just in my hard drive in my computer. So that, because that's the only way you can really use knowledge, is if you know it. And also, another goal of mine is to have a bit of fun with the group forums and learn from others. I believe the group forums are quite handy in the fact that discussion is the only way we really learn. It's actually becoming quite helpful. And I believe that putting myself on the spectrum is also great. Seeing how other people write and seeing how I need to improve and learning skills from them is great. Great form of learning. Is fun. Good idea. Whoever thought of that. Good choice. And that's the end of my video journal. I hope you guys did enjoy it and hope to get feedback. Kirsty and Angela. Thanks, guys. See you later.